All right,
Just start over.
it's doing it. Okay, go ahead, start over.
Alright. Hi, this is Jason, lowercase Jason from 211, and I'm here with Adam Turla from Murder by Death, and we're going to ask him a few questions. First of all, this isn't the first time we met. We actually met you in Cleveland a couple years ago at Max Bax. You were buying some Dragonlance books, so I just killed your rock cred there. And then we talked to you about it afterwards. Good.
I definitely had forgotten about that. So that was the Grog Shop show, and
Yeah.
that is the place. I'm right. That's the place that's like two lefts from the Grog Shop.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's like right there on the same street.
It's a great bookstore. I go there every time we play. I read the Dragonlance books when I was a kid. You know, I guess like fourth grade or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a driver when we go to Europe. His name's Georg. He's a Bavarian guy, and he drives us whenever we tour there. And he loves swords. He makes his own swords and everything. And so as that day, the reason I was there, I was buying him the latest. I was buying him one by one the Dragonlance. I can't remember what they're called.
Chronicles?
The first, is it Chronicles?
Yes.
The first three, the ones that are like the major ones.
Mm-hmm.
That basically made Dungeons and Dragons.
Right.
So I was buying them one by one every time we went to Europe. We were about to go to Europe, and so I was like, I gotta get Georg the latest Dragonlance because he thinks they're really funny. And well, actually, I think he's really into them because they're swords.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, I mean, swords, fun. But it's really cool to revisit them. I'm not gonna pretend to be cool. That shit was awesome, especially as like a 10-year-old, you know, like. And revisiting it, I reread them before I gave it to my friend. Awesome. Wizards and shit. I mean.
Awesome. Alright, let's see. When we try to describe your sound to anyone, we usually end up fumbling and saying things like it's rock and roll, but it's kind of dark, but it's not gothy, and it has strings in it. How do you describe your sound?
That's pretty fucking good, man.
Actually, sometimes I say it's like rock and roll meets spaghetti western, but...
That's great. No, honestly, you're doing a better job than I ever could have come up with. The whole point of this band is that we never tried to be anything. We just kind of just did whatever we felt like at the time. And it's been, my God, it's been 11 years now, because April 2000 was our first show. So 11 years. It's kind of just whatever tickles our fancy at the time. And yeah, I mean, I love spaghetti westerns. I think the main thing that in the last at least 5-6 years maybe that's kept me going is I want to keep something upbeat, rock and roll, but I feel like there's so little rock and roll in culture right now. I mean, there's a lot of dance music, there's a lot of like folk, a lot of indie, a lot of pop music. I feel like rock and roll is kind of going away. And so what we try to do is do kind of, I hate saying artsy rock and roll, but
there's a lot of like concept stuff.
Well, I want to be in a rock and roll band that like is thinking about the words we write. That's all I'm trying to say. That's the embodiment of a band. It's like I care about the stuff that I write about, and I spend a lot of time trying to write lyrics that are interesting, hopefully, and exciting, but I want to keep that spirit of rock and roll and rebellion alive. That's I guess what I'm trying to do. I don't know. It's hard to explain because you never think. I don't have a mission statement.
Right.
I just do it. We write our songs, and we just try to do something that seems good, and we do the best we can every night, and that's it. I mean, we're not big enough to like have some like perfect statement to sum it all up, you know.
Nice. Let's see. So, as fans of good drinks, what's your favorite drink?
Favorite drink?
Are there any drinks that like the entire band seems to go for?
When I'm on tour, I just drink straight whiskey, like no ice, preferably bourbon. I mean, we're from bourbon country. We're in southern Indiana, so the Kentucky influence is just, I mean, and plus we got a couple of Kentucky folks in our band, so that's a big deal. I love a gin and tonic. What can I say? I love gin. I mean, it's just a good strong drink, flavor. You know, we have a band drink that we made up probably like 8 years ago, just the Murder by Death, and it's nobody seems to like it but Sarah and I. It's you take a bunch of bourbon, like 3/4 of a shot glass full of bourbon, and then you top it off with tomato juice, and then you top it off with Bacardi, was it 181 or whatever the strong stuff, and you set it on fire, and it's the Murder by Death. And I think the tomato and whiskey is pretty good, but Sarah and I seem to be the only ones who think that.
I'll have to give it a try next time I'm mixing drinks.
Well, you know, try it. Nobody liked it. I don't know why. It's a weird flavor. It seems kind of interesting to me.
Alright, who is Little Joe Gould anyway?
Oh, well, so that's our band's name from the year 2000 to 2002, and it came from a poem by the poet E. Cummings, who's sort of a absurdist. I don't know how to describe him. I don't know what his technical term is, but he's a poet that wrote sort of goofy, beautiful poems. And I just really liked him when we named the band originally when we were 17 to 19. We were kids. You know, I mean, it was just one of those things where I was like, oh, I love this poet. We'll use this as our name. Not thinking that we're ever going to really do anything with the band. And then all of a sudden this is our whole life. I mean, I turned 30 in a month, and I had no idea what I was getting into. This is just what we do now, and I love it. Trust me. I mean, writing songs for a living, it's a perfect dream. But it's just funny. It's just funny to like think back on naming your band when you're 18 years old. I don't know. And then Murder by Death. I mean, for that, it's a movie I saw. My mother is from Italy, and I remember I was like 13 years old, and I went to Italy, and the only movie that was in English and it was subtitles in Italian was Murder by Death. And it's a silly comedy. If you ever saw the movie Clue, it's basically a murder mystery spoof like that. And I was like, oh, it's a funny band name. I don't know, when you're 18, I don't know what you're thinking when you name the band.
It's kind of funny too, because it's like, it seems like such a sinister sounding title unless you know about the movie, and that's like, oh wait, that's it, you got a comedy.
That was what I was thinking at the time. I didn't realize that, I guess I didn't realize that band names matter. Like, I had no idea, like, I think we changed our band name when I was like 20. I had no idea that people like actually like use the name to determine what they thought about the band. So I don't know, maybe it's helped us, maybe it's hurt us, I don't know.
It's probably also kind of like a tattoo where you get it and then, you know, it's there forever, even if you, like, especially once you get popular.
That's a good point.
Change the name, everyone
Well, some
knows,
people
well, that's
love
Murder
it.
by
I mean,
Death.
some people think it's hilarious, and like we thought it was funny, but then some people are like, but they're not a metal band. Like some people are like, well, Sarah, talk about our band but with reservations. Only because of the name, because maybe their friends don't listen to anything that's like aggressive or you know, dark, and so they'll have to defend the name. And I hear different people do it different ways. And, I mean, it's kind of, at this point, I'm just doing my thing. You know, it's like, at one point I think I worried about, I was like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have named ourselves such a dark name. But who gives a shit? I mean, it's just kind of let the music speak for itself and do the best you can. Like, try to write some good songs, hopefully people will enjoy them. Ultimately, that's all that really matters. I mean, the point is just try to write some good songs, and that's it.
All right, and our last question: who would win in a fight, Raceland from the Dragonlance books or Doctor Strange from Marvel Comics?
Wow, I know. Oddly enough, I know more about Raceland. Raceland is because that's the thing we were talking about earlier. He's the like sickly wizard from Dungeons and Dragons. Doctor Strange from Marvel.
The Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, I don't know as much about him. Tell me more about him. Give me some.
Well, he is the Sorcerer Supreme. He was a former doctor who lost the use of his hands and then became a sorcerer.
Because I read comic books as of recently. A bunch of my buddies I grew up with are now actually like professional comic book guys. Like, oh my god, one of my buddies is a serious writer and one's a serious artist. Like doing like stuff for like Wildstorm and I'm so bad with names, but so I've recently gotten into comics, but Doctor Strange I don't know much about him. But so you're talking about two kind of like weak badasses.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, Doctor Strange isn't that weak physically anymore. He's martial arts.
Dagan, you know anything about Doctor Strange?
No. You weak badass.
Yeah, kind of.
You know, I can't answer that question fairly.
Right.
So I'm gonna have to do some research. Let's get back to this next time.
Okay.
No, seriously. I can't. I don't want to bullshit you. I'm gonna go read some Doctor Strange.
You should.
And I'm gonna come back to
Good
you.
stuff.
I'm gonna give you my true opinion.
That's all good stuff.
Good question though. No, I recently only got into comic books like 2 years ago. So, but now I'm way in. So. Like one of my buddies is like a major writer now for what's it called? I'm so bad with the names.
What's his name?
Mike Costa. He writes Cobra right now for the G.I. Joe, which is crazy.
Is that like Devil's Due Publishing or something?
One of my buddies works for that, but it's not that one. Maybe he's done some one-offs for that because I know the name. He's really good. Actually, I bought the series thinking like G.I. Joe, but he wrote Cobra, and it's incredible. It's like, it's so good. I had this thing, one of my buddies I grew up as a writer for comic books and was an artist, and we've been loosely, we want to do a Murder by Death comic book, but it's just, we have to get together. It's just one of those things where we have to just do it. I should call them. Just call them, we should just do it.
Alright. So, that was Adam Turla from Murder by Death, and don't want to take up any more of your time here, but it was nice talking to you.
Yeah.
And I'm Jason for 211.
Woo!